Another major financial institution is under the microscope today, HSBC, one of the largest banks in the world. A leak of confidential data obtained by Radio-Canada's program Enquête and by the National show how the bank was complicit in helping some of its richest clients hide assets, at times illegally. Among the names, more than 1,500 Canadians. And you might be surprised by Ottawa's response. Here's Frederic Zalac with Banking on Secrecy.
Geneva, home to the rich and one of the world's top banking centers with its numbered accounts, its hidden names, its deep secrets. But in 2008, all that took a big tumble when this branch of the HSBC private bank, catering to some of the wealthiest people in the world, became the target of an unprecedented leak of financial information. A leak that would lead to charges of complicity in tax evasion, tax fraud, and money laundering. For months, a staff employee responsible for the bank's IT system kept copying the bankers' and their clients' private files. His name was Hervé Falciani, and we first met him in 2010.
I came to the point that something was very wrong and should be changed.
When Swiss police were zooming in on him, Falciani fled to Nice on the French Riviera. Whatever his motives, he ended up giving the data to French officials. They launched a series of investigations.
I'm free, I'm free from all these things I had on my mind.
A source eventually leaked the data from the French tax investigation to the newspaper Le Monde. In turn, Le Monde shared it with ICIJ, an international organization of investigative journalists coming from media outlets around the world, including the CBC.
These are the top people.
Il y avait effectivement des dizaines de milliers de noms.
By going through the USB drive, we discovered that there were tens of thousands of names, including Canadians, Americans, and others.
Falciani's file contains 1,859 names and companies linked to Canada, holding assets of almost $4 billion. The database, with some staggering amounts, was given to Canadian authorities in 2010. Having a Swiss bank account isn't illegal, but undeclared income is. The federal government promised severe punishment for those who broke the law.
Mr. Speaker, this government will continue to go aggressively after tax evaders.
In London, England, the head of HSBC's private banking, the very place where the leak occurred, seemed to agree. Just 2 years earlier, he spoke to the Treasury Committee of the British House of Commons. He said that HSBC, the biggest bank in the world at the time, would never participate in illegal activities.
We prohibit our bankers from encouraging or being involved in tax evasion. If they get any hint that there is tax evasion, then they have to file a suspicious transaction report.
But the data coming out of the leak appear to contradict this. What's particularly interesting are the detailed notes written by the bankers about their clients. These notes reveal clients obsessed with secrecy and bankers ready to play along. Here are examples of such notes we found in the files of Canadians.
As is her habit, the client called us from a public phone to give us her transfer order.
The money deposited in our bank comes from their country of origin, Iran. Having emigrated to Canada after the Iranian Revolution, the funds have never been declared.
The client doesn't understand why his first and last name are on the transfer order. He is asking how to make it so he doesn't have to give his name. He has to form a company. He is going to contact us probably in order to form a company.
These banks have long been taking cover, first behind bank secrets, then behind the secrecy of client instructions. No one was supposed to know what exactly was going on. Now, with all these cases and all the notes and all the exchanges revealed in the database, we can easily see that banks have been proactive. They've tried to circumvent the system, they've set up or urged clients to create offshore structures. So now an entire aspect of the system that was once hidden is out in the open.
One of the most revealing examples involves a Montreal doctor, Erwin Rodier. His HSBC file contains this formal warning. He never wants to be contacted by the bank, whether it's by email or phone.
This client is somewhat paranoid. Whenever he was coming to Zurich, he flew to Paris and hired a car to drive to Zurich in order not to reenact his final destination, etc. So we both thought it might not be a good idea to write a fax, even a neutral one.
We reached Dr. Rodier by phone and asked him why his file says he would go to Switzerland indirectly via Paris.
Oh, I don't care what people say. You know, I don't bother with rumors, and I don't really want to talk to you. I mean, you have a hell of a nerve to call me about a case that occurred a few years ago that I was honest about, and it's finished already.
Rodier said that he has since settled with tax authorities using the Voluntary Disclosure Program, a program where taxpayers are allowed to go back and disclose previously undeclared assets without any penalty.
I'm sorry, it's been completed. The whole case is done, and the Quebec revenue and Canadian revenue have been paid.
So what's the Canada Revenue Agency's record on this file? Well, there have been 264 voluntary disclosures, and the government has recovered $28.4 million in unpaid taxes, but not one charge for tax evasion or for tax fraud.
It is not a fair system. It is not something that should be encouraged.
Tax law professor André Laroux thinks that allowing voluntary disclosure for assets hidden offshore gives the rich an easy way out.
It sort of creates a system where if you have a lot of money, you may just think, well, I'll take a chance. I won't pay taxes. And if I feel one day that I may get caught, then I'll go forward, I'll disclose the amount, and I don't have any penalty to pay.
HSBC is now facing tax evasion and fraud charges in Belgium and Argentina, and a major criminal investigation is still underway in France. In a statement, HSBC acknowledged problems in the past. We have taken significant steps over the past several years to implement reforms and exit clients who did not meet strict new HSBC standards, including those where we had concerns in relation to tax compliance, they wrote. Hervé Farciani has no regrets.
A huge industry is made just to go around rules that we can't go around as simple citizens. That's the problem.
For The National, I'm Frédéric Zalac.